Every year during March Madness, 68 teams compete for the biggest prize in college basketball. They're also competing for more than $220 million, which the NCAA doles out depending on how teams perform. That money is distributed in a complex way which confuses even those who work in college sports. We are going to explain it all. From Sportico, this is One Shining Check. The NCAA distributes its money via a system that it calls units. For our purposes today, let's use a basketball to represent one unit. For every NCAA tournament, like last year's 2023 version, teams earn 1 unit for every game they play before the final. That's 132 units assigned per tournament. Yes, it includes the first 4. A team that makes it to the final, like UConn and San Diego State did in 2023, they each earn 5 units. Those units are awarded to the conference, not to the team. Here's how many units each conference earned from last year's tournament. Teams from the SEC played 17 games before the final, and therefore earned 17 units. Many other conferences earned multiple units, while 18 conferences earned just 1. Remember, every conference gets at least 1 unit each year, because every conference champion gets an automatic bid to the tournament. Units are paid out over 6 years, and those payments start the year after the tournament in which the units are earned. In 2024, therefore, conferences are getting paid for their success in every tournament from 2018 through 2023. That's 660 units total across 5 tournaments, given the COVID-canceled 2020 event. In that span, the ACC has the most units, with 83, and 4 leagues have the bare minimum, with 5. So how much are these units actually worth? Let's look at the NCAA's balance sheet. The NCAA makes about $1.3 billion each year, most of which is generated by March Madness, and it gives most of that money back to its member schools. There are 9 different ways the revenue is distributed, but the biggest by far is this green portion, the money awarded for games played during Men's March Madness. That includes the Equal Conference Fund and the Basketball Fund. This year, the combined pool is about $226 million. Now for some quick math. If you divide that $226 million by the 660 total units from the past 6 years, you get $342,000. That's the approximate value of a unit in 2024. Let's go back to that previous chart. Using that unit value, here's what every conference is being paid in 2024 for its prior March Madness success. The ACC will receive $28.4 million for its 83 units earned between 2018 and 2023. That's the highest total, though not by much. The Big Ten is 1 unit behind, with 82. The conferences on the back end, with the minimum 5 units, will be paid $1.7 million in 2024. The NCAA encourages conferences to split this money evenly, and most of them do, but not all. Let's compare the Atlantic Coast Conference with the West Coast Conference. The ACC splits payouts evenly amongst its schools, so Boston College and Wake Forest, 2 teams that haven't played a single tournament game in the past 6 years, will see a share equal to that of Duke, which has earned 15 of those ACC units. Then there's the WCC, home to tournament mainstay Gonzaga. The WCC is due to be paid for 26 units this year, and Gonzaga has earned 19 of them. The Bulldogs will see a larger share of that money than their fellow conference mates, thanks to an agreement struck by the league back in 2018, when Gonzaga was considering leaving for the Mountain West. As a fun fact, Gonzaga's 19 units are more than any team in any conference has earned in the past 6 years. So after all this, what is a game played in 2024 worth for these conferences? For that, we have to look 6 years into the future. The unit value changes as a function of NCAA revenue, but the organization does publish financial projections. And using those projections, we can calculate the unit value for 2025 all the way through 2030. Payments for games played in 2024 begin next year, when the value of a unit is expected to be around $349,000. They'll finish in 2030, when the value of a unit is expected to be roughly $335,000. Yes, the value of a unit is set to come down in the coming years. That's because of a quirk caused by the canceled 2020 tournament. Right now, there are only 5 tournaments in the past 6 years, when there are typically 6. When we combine all 6 of these green bars, we can calculate that each game played in the 2024 tournament will be worth, eventually, a shade under $2 million for their conferences. Of course, none of this is likely on the minds of athletes as they take the court during March Madness, where one shining check is far less important than one shining moment. This has been a Sportico production created by Matt Palacio, Lev Akabis, and Eben Novi-Williams.